Rampart Talks is brought to you by Resolve Forensic. When financial disputes head to court, the numbers become the battlefield. Trusted by Australia's top law firms and corporates, Resolve brings sharp analytical insight to forensic accounting, business valuations, and dispute consulting, unencumbered by the conflicts of the big firms. Their court-tested expertise delivers the clarity you need when confusion isn't an option. Visit resolveforensic.com.au. James Packer, welcome to Rampart.
Joe, it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be on your ship.
Well, we're on your ship.
Well, that's true too.
On your ship, IJE.
Yeah.
It's a pretty spectacular setting for an interview.
I'm very lucky.
And I've been very lucky over the years to spend a lot of time with you here. Would you describe this boat as your happy place?
I think I'm lucky enough to have a few happy places. This boat is certainly one of those. I'm very lucky to be able to, in a lot of ways, I'm very lucky to be able to live the life that I lead, and I try and remember that and try and be grateful for that as often as I can.
So let's move to Crown. Crown was the company you built.
Yeah. Well, Lloyd Williams built in the first instance, and
True.
then I helped.
It was your company. It employed 19,000 people, generated very good profits for shareholders, but ultimately, you were forced to sell out as part of this regulatory firestorm. How do you reflect on it all now?
So I reflect. I'm so grateful that Blackstone came along, and now listen. Blackstone are some of the smartest people in the world. I give myself about a 5 out of 10 in business. That's if I'm being honest, I give myself about a 5 out of 10. And when my dad died, I expected that I was going to be an 8 or a 9 out of 10. If I look at the things that I've done reasonably well, I've sold a few things well. I sold Channel 9 well, and I sold ACP well. I arguably sold 3 other things well. No, I arguably sold CMH, which was Foxtel and Fox Sports, well. I arguably sold Macau well, and I arguably sold Crown well to Blackstone. Now, before, I say that I sold, Foxtel and Fox Sports well, let me say I sold my 10% of realestate.com very badly. So I don't want anyone saying I've done better than the Murdochs. The Murdochs have done just as well out of me as I've done out of the Murdochs.
So while we're in politics, let's talk about Donald Trump, because well before he ever had any political ambitions, he was a golfing buddy of your father's.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
You presume you met him, spent time with him in those days?
I've met Donald a few times. And he's been nothing but nice to me. He liked my father. So the first time I met Donald, he took Jodie and I, my first wife, who I'm still very close to, he took Jodie and I out to dinner in New York in 1998. It was just the 4 of us. It was Melania, Donald. I think Donald and Melania had just started. It was Donald, Melania, Jodie and I. And then I had a meeting. I had a memorable meeting, which you know about, but I can't. I had a memorable meeting with Donald Trump just after my dad died, and for the last couple of years, and then I didn't see him for a long time, but I happened to, about 2 years ago, I spent time in America, and most of the time that I spent in America was, either in Los Angeles or Aspen. And I had some friends who said, come and try Palm Beach. And so I rented a house in Palm Beach, and it actually happened to be a house that's owned by Donald and Eric Trump. And it shares a fence with Mar-a-Lago. And the president was nice enough. He knew that I'd rented the house, and he invited me for dinner, and so that was, that was at the beginning of 2024, and then so we had dinner, and I sat next to him for a couple of hours, and then at the beginning of 2025, after he'd won the presidency, he did the same thing, and we had dinner, and I sat next to him for a couple of hours, and he couldn't have been nicer.
A message now from our partner Ray White Commercial. In commercial property, scale matters, and so does local expertise. Ray White Commercial operates through more than 50 businesses across Australia and New Zealand, each owned by respected local leaders who know their markets intimately. They are part of Australasia's largest real estate group, delivering bespoke service with the backing to execute complex transactions. From office and retail to industrial and development sites, RWC combines capability with agility. They're also the competition creators, running the country's largest auction program for commercial assets. For the hottest commercial opportunities delivered monthly, subscribe to Portfolio magazine at raywhitecommercial.com. A link to do that is also in the episode notes. And a message from BHP. When mining performs, Australia prospers. Around 600,000 Australians directly hold BHP shares, while millions more own them through super funds. Over the last decade, BHP contributed $103 billion to Australian governments, funding Medicare, hospitals, schools and infrastructure. As global competition for critical minerals intensifies and nations scramble to secure supply chains, Australia sits at a strategic crossroads. The question isn't whether Australia will continue to rely on mining, it's how we'll maintain world-class governance and environmental standards while competing for global investment. As the world's largest mining company, BHP believes Australia can lead on both fronts. For insights on resources and Australia's economic future, visit bhp.com. Let's talk about the media industry. You mostly got out of the media business in 2008. Totally got out of the media business in 2012, as you said.
Other than Rat Pack.
That's the entertainment
Okay,
business.
that's
I mean,
the entertainment business.
but yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
But some of your friendships are with some of the most influential media proprietors in the world. Lachlan Murdoch has taken a very different approach to the family media business. He is all in. In fact, about a year ago, you pulled your boat up next to his in this part of the world. How much was the dispute with his siblings weighing on him at that time?
So Lachlan is one of my favourite people in the world. You know, it's public that the family relations have been, battered and bruised. The thing that I think was unquestionably right about Rupert and Lachlan's argument in the Reno court was that by being conservative, those media properties were more profitable and more valuable.
Yeah.
So if you're the sisters, if you're Prue, and I don't know Prue and I don't know Liz, but, if James is saying to Prue and Liz, I want to take Fox News back to the centre and make it less profitable so your shares are worth less money, I don't think that's the best sales pitch I've ever heard in my life.
So let's talk about Kerry Stokes. And while Lachlan's more of a mate, would you say Kerry's become more like a father figure?
I adore Kerry and think Kerry's one of the great Australians. I think he's just a fantastic man, and he's obviously got a streak in him that's hard as nails, and he obviously came from less than nothing. I couldn't be fonder of Kerry than I am, and I if he says something to me, I think about it.
So you're still close?
Very.
So
I speak to Kerry more than I speak to Lachlan.
It's also on the public record in 2016, Kerry came to your home in Aspen and found you in a very bad way.
Yep.
What happened?
The reality is I had substance abuse issues. What caused them is, again, it falls at my feet. I was under a lot of pressure in business. So I had a lot of debt. I had a lot of obligations. I was under a lot of pressure, and I was drinking way too much. and I was, I was in a bad place.
Stokes has said that a very senior Israeli figure helped him place you into medical care. And people understandably have interpreted that to mean Benjamin Netanyahu. Is that right?
I don't want to listen. All I'll say is that the Prime Minister of Israel was a dear friend to me when I needed help, and I will never forget that. And I think he's obviously an incredibly divisive figure at the moment. I think he's probably the most impressive man I've ever met.
Let's finish the conversation back in Australia. You're coming back to Sydney for Christmas this year?
I'm coming back to see my mum.
You're looking forward to that?
I'm looking forward to that very much.
Is it perhaps a bittersweet relationship that you have these days with your hometown?
It's probably a bittersweet relationship I have with the ATO. I mean, I'm non-resident. I've probably spent 6 weeks in Australia in the last 10 years. And, I'm told that if I spend any more than a couple of weeks in Australia, they're going to be difficult. Now, so, my mum's not getting any younger. So, I'd like to come back to, I'm her only son, and, I want to come back and see her, and my sister's in Australia, and I've got friends in Australia. So, I, I've got people I fell out with in Australia as well. I mean, I've got, I can be difficult. And so, it's not without, there's always the risk that I'm going to run into someone on the street that, I've fallen out with, but, I'm looking forward to getting back to Sydney.
We talked earlier about some times where you were in a pretty bad way. Are you in a good place now?
I think so. I mean, I haven't had a drink for 2 years. I'm working with, I've got a good psychologist and good psychiatrist, and I'm working with them, and, I think I think I'm one of the luckiest people in the world. I got 3 amazing kids. I got 2 amazing ex-wives. Erica is my best friend. She's a fantastic mum, and I've got 3 teenage kids now, 17, 15, 13. They live in London. I'm so proud of all 3 of them. I think I'm a very lucky person.
Rampart Talks is exclusively for Rampart subscribers. To watch or listen to the full episode, go to rampart.news. A final message from Resolve Forensic. In modern litigation, financial evidence often determines outcomes. Resolve Forensic brings institutional-grade forensic accounting to complex disputes, the kind where revenue recognition becomes contentious, where damages run to 9 figures, and where asset tracing crosses multiple jurisdictions. Their practitioners combine Big Four technical excellence with courtroom credibility, unencumbered by audit mandates or advisory conflicts. That level of independence matters when valuations face a challenge. From special purpose examinations to expert witness testimony, Resolve operates at the intersection of accounting standards and legal strategy. For forensic accounting that cuts through to clarity, visit resolveforensic.com.au.